The following presentation, South Korea, China, and the Road and Belt Initiative, Economic and Political Factors, was held by Prof. Dr. Ananstasia Barannikova. On the conference, Korea, the Iron Silk Road and the Belt and Road Initiative, Soft Power and Hard Power Approaches. The conference discusses an urgent and deep processing topic. How can middle powers like South Korea and Germany benefit from closer economic and political linkages across the Eurasian landmass, in particular the Belt and Road Initiative, dominated by China? Should they rather jump on the bandwagon, or should they follow distinct own initiatives, either in their region or interregionally?
Much has already been said about Eurasian initiative, new northern policy of South Korea and China One Belt, One Road projects itself. I will go directly to the problems. As we may see, there are many points of intersection in our key project of new northern policy and China One Belt and One Road or Belt and Road initiative. But despite these points of intersection and long-term economic cooperation between two countries, and of course their mutual interest in this cooperation, there is still little progress in linking the mega projects of Eurasian integration. The main problem of implementing Eurasian initiative was, in my opinion, its excessive politicizing. If we take a look at the slogan of the initiative, Eurasian initiative, sometimes it is referred as official title, opening the denuclearization of North Korea through the peaceful prosperity of Eurasia. So it clearly indicates ultimate goals and expectations associated with ROK cooperation with China and other countries through its initiative. Moon Jae-in's new northern policy rhetoric was much less assertive, and it was focused on engagement of North Korea rather than pressure. At the same time, we see that North Korea still seems to be the key reason behind a new northern policy, while unresolved nuclear issue of the Korean Peninsula its main obstacle. On the one hand, the main goals of the projects promoted and supported by ROK is cooperation on the Korean Peninsula. It would help stabilize situation in the region, regional security, and so on. On the other hand, ROK in fact makes its participation in Chinese projects dependent on the improvement of inter-Korean relations. Given the fact that inter-Korean relations in turn are made by ROK dependent on the denuclearization of North Korea, this condition seems impossible demand. Failed United States excuse me, policy and the current level of North Korean nuclear missile program make any talks of its unilateral disarmament meaningless. And inconsistency of North Korean policy in ROK, in fact, it changes with every new administration, adds to these problems. Mentioning inter-Korean relations in connection with the One Belt, One Road may well be another attempt to make China press on North Korea and resolve notorious nuclear issue. However, relations with the DPRK for China are no less, if not more valuable than relations with the DPRK, with the ROK, excuse me. Another problem is Belt and Road initiative cannot be characterized as a purely economic project. Despite prioritizing economic component and denying geopolitical motives, Belt and Road is aimed not only at promoting economic cooperation, but also at increasing China's cultural and political influence. So this initiative itself can be perceived as a grand strategy of China. And of course, these characteristics add problems for ROK, which is bound by allied obligations with the United States, China's geopolitical rival. The United States has already demonstrated a negative attitude towards the Chinese mega project. American media and think tanks are carrying out information campaigns to discredit Belt and Road initiative, while the United States military even see the Belt and Road as an instrument of strategic expansion and suspect that cargo points involved in the project will become the basis of Chinese Navy in future. It's clear that another China threat, inflation, is just a part of information warfare in the context of growing rivalry between two countries. However, the allies of the United States, especially ROK, may face a difficult choice as a result of big powers rivalry. Some observers argue that China would like to weaken United States alliance with Seoul and Tokyo, given the real goal of that alliance is to contain China rather than to deter North Korea. And in order to weaken alliance, China can both maintain tensions in the region and exert influence on ROK. Being South Korea's main trade partner, China has this economic pressure leverage. And opinion polls show that South Koreans regard China as the most powerful, at least from the point of economy, country in the region. This influence will only grow further. Of course, China's economic influence grows cannot but cause concerns in ROK. By gaining new access to Eurasian market through implementation of its own initiatives, like Eurasian Initiative or New Northern Policy, South Korea hopes to become less dependent on trade with China. And ROK may view Chinese mega project as prospective and economically beneficial, but at the same time, it is interested in maintaining relative independence and the status of equal partner of China. On the one hand, economic relations have always been the most important element in China-ROK relations since their diplomatic normalization in 90s. On the other hand, experts sometimes use the term asymmetric interdependence to describe China-ROK economic cooperation, which means that South Korea depends much more deeply on China than China does on South Korea. ROK already could feel the consequences of this asymmetric interdependence after its decision to accept THAAD systems deployment in 2017. Soon after announcing this decision, China started economic pressure on ROK by imposing informal sanctions against its firm, cultural products, and tourism. The sanctions over THAAD cost South Korea billions of dollars. And importantly, this case demonstrated how prepared China is to use economic leverage for political purposes. Because the trade war between the United States and China is going on, similar negative scenario for South Korea may repeat. From this point, ROK may fear even greater involvement in Chinese projects, which would inevitably lead to increased dependence on China. While Belt and Road Initiative and Eurasian Initiative on New Northern Policy of South Korea can be compatible with each other from the perspective of economic integration, each country's visions for national and regional security are conflicting. The same do the goals pursued by countries in connection with their strategic projects. Thus, speaking about the Eurasian Initiative and later about the New Northern Policy, South Korean officials stressed that the project would contribute to peace and prosperity on the Korean Peninsula. At the same time, Belt and Road Initiative pursues broad objectives and excludes any remarks about the development of the Korean Peninsula, partly because it is not so important for China as it is for South Korea. Another reason may be that the Chinese government is interested in maintaining status quo of a divided Korea. China's interests on the Korean Peninsula and its divide and control strategy may become another serious obstacle to ROK participation in Belt and Road Initiative. Moreover, China tries to prevent any North Korean rapprochement with other countries. Reunification of the Korean Peninsula or United States DPRK normalization would not serve Beijing's interests. Since China regards the entire Korean Peninsula as its sphere of strategic interests, it prefers to keep the South under control as well. At the same time, it monitors closely inter-Korean relations and interferes when the country's ties become, in Beijing's opinion, too close. So maybe it's too pessimistic, but what about the prospects? If the United States fails to revitalize the alliance or propose adequate alternative to China's economic cooperation, then pro-Chinese sentiments may return in ROK, as there were such kind of sentiments during Normukhon era. At the same time, if the United States succeeds ROK may feel much safer from the point of developing cooperation with China, including within the framework of Belt and Road Initiative. The pandemic has made adjustments not only in development of economy, transport, and supply chains. It provided China with opportunity to expand and modernize its Belt and Road cooperation agenda. For example, one of the most interesting ideas is Health Silk Road Initiative. China's opponents consider this initiative as a plan to supply vaccines in order to gain strategic advantage in competing with the United States. However, this initiative seems much broader, at least for me. It goes beyond just providing vaccines. We're talking about cooperation between different countries in the post-COVID period. And it may imply that the Belt and Road Initiative will be aimed at struggling the economic consequences of pandemic and restoring the global economy. China, who was one of the first countries to take control of the pandemic and restart its economy, has high chances to head and lead the process of recovering global economic system. And its Belt and Road mega project, if updated to meet new challenges, will be efficient and promising. So other countries, including ROK, will in one way or another try to join this project. At the same time, Chinese initiative will likely be implemented in any way, in any case, with or without ROK participation. Belt and Road provides for multiple transport corridors, already mentioned by other presenters, outside, including those outside the Korean Peninsula, for example, through Russia, Mongolia, or Central Asia. However, we should not exclude that attempts to attract ROK to the project will intensify. I mean, attempts by China. In the case of disturbing the balance within the China, ROK, United States triangle. In this case, China may start involving ROK more actively in its project in order to put it closer to its own orbit. To conclude, as the projects like Belt and Road Initiative and Eurasian, excuse me, I didn't show this slide as well. So, as two mega projects of two countries have distinct political goals, it is not a surprise that the most serious problems arising on the way of their linking or implementation are also of political nature. And the main problems of interaction between China and ROK through the Belt and Road project lie in the political sphere, or rather in divergence of political interests and goals the countries apply to, the countries expect in connection with their projects. Another problem is relations of ROK with the United States and current United States-China rivalry. By implemented Belt and Road project, China creates the belt of friendly states, including Russia, Central Asian, and some Northeast and Southeast Asian states. It would give China necessary resources and support in competition for global leadership. Of course, in this case, the United States will not only oppose Chinese mega projects implementations, but also counter them with their own initiatives and discourage its allies, especially ROK, from joining these initiatives. Cooperation of China and ROK through the Belt and Road project thus will be determined also by ability of the ROK leadership to balance between two big powers. Thank you for your attention.